Trading became easy when I stopped focusing on strategy and started focusing on myself. This is what I realized over the years. And this is what gave me the consistency that I started getting this year. If you don't know my story by now, I struggled with trading for over 10 years. And basically, I was running away from psychology. It was boring. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was important, and I was always chasing the shiny object, the next best strategy, the next best mentor, the next best Lambo guru, whatever you want to call it. That's what I was trying to chase all the time, the holy grail, and it got me nowhere. It just made things worse because the thing that changed everything was internal. It was an internal game. So this is what I'm going to talk about in this video. And by the end of this video, you're actually going to understand a little bit deeper about the internal shifts that I had in order to create the consistency that I've been having recently in this year within my trading. So make sure you watch this to the end. When we talk about the internal game, the psychology or the subconscious programming, this is the thing that most newbie traders or most retail traders ignore because they don't realize how powerful it is. They don't see it as something important. They actually hear about psychology. Maybe they listen to a podcast or they're online somewhere and somebody briefly mentions it in a video, but the whole thing doesn't click. And when it doesn't click, it's so easy to miss because psychology is actually something that you don't see physically. You don't get to touch it. You don't get to hold it. It's not a physical thing. It's an internal thing. It's the unseen. And so because of that, it's so easy to miss. It's so easy to overlook it. And you can understand now why people don't take it seriously or they don't see the need for it. All they want to do is chase what is in the 3D, in the physical world, what they can see in front of them, what they see on their computers, in the charts, in the markets, basically. That's what people want to chase. And so it's very misleading because people go down this rabbit hole and they are going the wrong direction. And this is, I would say, 95% of traders, the entire market, because everybody is running in that wrong direction. You see, the secret to success that I found out in other areas of my life, and I didn't come to the realization until recently this year, was that I always knew that if you want to be successful in anything, you got to look at what everybody else is doing in life and do the complete opposite, because everybody else is having such a bad time. They are failing at life. Most of the world is broke. Most of the world is struggling. Most of the world is in lack. Most of the world is in fear. Most of the world hate their lives and their jobs and their current condition. So if you were to follow the societal norms and just do mindlessly what other people are doing without questioning, so, go to school, get a job, get a mortgage, get into debt, have a family, and all of these things, you're going to end up like everybody else, which is basically not a good place, right? It's the matrix or the system which has designed you to become this slave to the banks, to the society, to your emotions, to the news, to the politicians. So basically, this is what's holding you back. And a millionaire mentor of mine years ago said that all you have to do is look at what everybody else is doing and do the opposite. So that's what I've done for my whole life, and it's worked out all right. Like, I've never had a 9-to-5 job. I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always had my own businesses. I've always done things that, I dropped out of high school, and I also dropped out of a little bit of college. I was there for a very short amount of time. And so I hadn't really followed the conventional path. And I don't think that that's the way to go. I mean, if you want to, how should I say this? If you want to succeed, you just can't do what everybody else is doing. Put it that way. It's plain and simple. So when it came to trading, it wasn't something that was obvious. I didn't really apply that same rule to my trading until the end, until after I had enough pain. You see, trading is the only thing in the whole world that even Navy SEALs will admit that it's difficult. It's such a difficult skill to master, to become good at, that the most disciplined, toughest, mentally toughest, physically toughest people in the world, Navy SEALs, say that trading is hard. There's nothing as hard as trading and trying to become a Navy SEAL. And this is true. And so when you try to do trading like everybody else, you're going to suffer because everybody else is focused on learning strategy. And it would make sense to focus on learning strategy, right? Because that's where your trades happen. You have to have a strategy. You need to have an edge to be able to execute and get into the market. And so naturally, that's where the majority of people put their focus, on the strategy. So I realized after 10 years of trying to chase strategy that it wasn't working. I had to change. I had to do the opposite of what I was told to do, what I thought was the right thing to do, what everybody else was trying to do. And so I started looking internally. I started going within. And that's when I realized that this was the thing that most people were not doing, that I had to focus on doing if I wanted to see any success, because everything else in my life was fine. All my other businesses, everything, I'd always take it to the top. But it was the trading was the one that was the hardest. That was the one that I couldn't sleep. I would lose sleep over the trades. Basically, it just drove me to the end. But the thing about me is that I just never give up. And because of that, I was able to stick with it. And through the pain, through enough losses and pain and failure, that somehow by the grace of God, like, it forced me to go within. And because I was already on a spiritual journey, going internal with my trading was the next logical step. But the thing is, you're not ready for it. It doesn't just happen. You don't just decide. The fact that you're watching this video and you're watching my channel is also part of your journey, that for some reason your thinking, your psychology, your internal beliefs that you didn't quit yet, you kept going, has brought you here through all the pain and the struggle that you've already been through, that has got you to be sitting in front of your computer watching me talk and telling you the things that you need to know, that this is the confirmation that you need, that you have to start going internally and working on your psychology. And if you told me this 10 years ago, I would have not taken it seriously because I wasn't ready to receive the information. Does that make sense? So it really is where you are during your journey in trading, and if you are ready to receive the information or not. This is your mind and your subconscious, and it's also, if you like, God's timing. If God thinks that you're ready and now you're ready, He'll make you understand the important things. And until you are ready, you'll just keep repeating the old mistakes, and that's the pain that you have to go through until you submit to the idea that it's not just strategy, it's psychology. It is actually subconscious. You see, you can have the best strategy, but with the wrong psychology, it still won't work. Your brain is going to find a way to overtrade, to get into the trade early, to mess up the setup, to do something. Even though the strategy is 100% win, you still mess it up and you will still go back to your old ways because you're programmed in the wrong ways. Your psychology is wrong. You got to understand that most people, traders, are walking around life reacting to the simulation, the 3D world. So whatever is happening in your physical plane, what you can see in front of your face, with your eyes, is what we call the 3D world. This is the simulation, which is part of the creation of the matrix, is what I like to say. And that's where most people stop. That's where the majority of people end. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because they can only get so far, and then they see the 3D and they take it at face value for what it is, and they think that that's it, because you have been brainwashed to believe that there is no internal world, that there is no inner higher power or some universal energy that is working within you, that you are actually powerful. You see, you have been brainwashed to think that you're not powerful, to think that you are weak, to think that you need to react to bad news, to war, to politics, to pandemics, to all of this crap and this nonsense that is fabricated by the 3D that is in control of your life. So if that is your reality and that is how you are reacting to life, then the matrix has you where they want you to be, weak and controllable. Do you understand? Because you don't understand your God-given powers that are inside you. So if you want to do the opposite of what everybody else is doing, then you have to understand that there is a 4D, the internal world, your internal world within, which is working. And this is the thing that is actually recreating your 3D, your 3D experience in the simulation. They don't teach you this. They don't tell you about this, but this is the same thing in trading. So basically, your trading is a direct mirror effect of your internal state. Does that make sense? So if your internal programming is lack and greed, or FOMO, then that's what you're going to get in the 3D world, which is your trading, your live trades, right? And then your results are not going to, your results are going to be a reflection of what is going on inside of you. So when I had this realization, this is when I got to work. This is when I started doing the internal programming, the reprogramming of my subconscious mind, the mental reprogramming, which is the thing I teach in my module. I have in the course, I got a full module that teaches you how to reprogram your internal world, so that you have this new identity as a successful, profitable, consistent trader, which is not what you are naturally given by default. So you have to reprogram from the old character, the old image of yourself, and then change to the new self-image of this profitable trader. Because if you keep telling yourself the same story, oh, I'm always struggling with trading, it's so difficult, I always close early, or I always revenge trade, it gets me so mad, and all. If you keep saying this, repeating this story, this is your old story, this is your default story, so your default patterns are going to keep repeating in the market. It doesn't matter about the strategy, because you're running on this old program. So in the module that I have in the course, basically we go in and we reprogram your identity, and we give you new, powerful, empowering internal identity as a successful trader. And then over time, when you start doing this consistently and reprogramming, the external world, your results will start to reflect. They will start to change. to reflect what is going on internally inside within your 4D world. This stuff sounds crazy, I know. And I'll tell you why it sounds crazy, because you have been programmed by the Matrix to think that it's crazy. They have got this down so well that they gaslight you into thinking that you would be crazy if you had such powers within you. And I'm here to tell you categorically that you are not crazy for believing this, that you are more powerful than you believe to be, than you were told to be. If you can understand what I'm telling you there, you're going to change. This will be the day that you change. This will be the moment of your realization, that your aha moment, that you're going to know that you actually have something within you and you have some control. See, life doesn't have to be crappy all the time. It doesn't have to be a struggle all the time. It doesn't have to be difficult. Your trading doesn't have to be difficult, because now, if you are able to reprogram and change your internal state, whatever strategy you're given is going to work, provided that it does work. You cannot make a bad strategy work, but I'm assuming that you have a working strategy to begin with, and then now all you got to fix is your internal state, yourself. Does that make sense? So I'm here to tell you that you're more powerful than you think. So once you start going through the modules that we have in the course and reprogramming yourself, you're going to start to see the shift in your 3D world. Your results are going to start to reflect. And some people are able to run up an account, so they get some profit and then they blow it again. They lose it. That is also because they have the wrong programming. They're not used to money. They feel like when they make money, they have to give it back because they're scared of abundance. Their internal programming has been programmed in such a way to keep them constantly broke because their financial thermostat is at a low vibration. Does that make sense? So you're in a low place. So when you make a lot of money, it feels uncomfortable. So we also have a special module for that, to just reprogram that part of your brain so that you can sit in money, so that you are comfortable with wealth, so that you can hold on to winning trades. So when you get into profit, you don't cut your trades too soon. So this is one thing that we also work on as well within the course. If you're interested, check it out. It's the first link in the description. You see, most people's 4D world, their internal world, is by default, it's a complete mess. It's a disaster. It's total chaos. So they're always worrying about how to pay their bills. They're always worrying about something on the news, something external. They're always in a state of greed. They're always in a state of panic, a state of lack. All of these negative emotions are what the masses have been conditioned to be in. And this is the problem. This is where all of your trading problems begin. So if you are trading in survival mode, if you are trying to survive as a trader, you're going to make bad decisions when it's time to execute. You're not going to think clearly. And so that's where most people's heads at. And you have to understand this. Once you can understand what I'm saying, once you understand all of this, your whole trading, perception of trading, your whole world, your whole view on trading is going to completely shift. And it's going to flip a whole 180, because now you know why most people struggle. Because all you got to do is look at most people, right? They're not doing too well in their lives. And how do you expect them to become a powerful, independent, consistently profitable trader when their internal states are all a mess? And this is where everybody's at. So once you understand this, this is the part where you can begin to separate yourself from everyone else. And then that's how you start working your way to being the top 5%, the top 1% of traders that actually make it. Those guys have figured it out. Those guys are not normal people. Those guys are very special people that have figured this out, what I'm telling you, and they're just not telling you. Or they figured it out without knowing So they intuitively figured it out, and they're just doing it out of intuition. But then that is also not a good place to be, because there are a lot of hedge funds where traders suddenly crumble. They're doing well, and then they suddenly crack, they crumble, and then they suddenly lose their edge, and now they can't trade, and then they lose their job. That's also what happens. And when that happens, it's because they're not aware of what I'm telling you. They're just doing it out of intuition. It's a fluke. They're doing it out of a fluke. They just know that, oh, if generally, if I'm thinking like this, then generally this is what happens. But they're not consciously in the confirmation of that as a fact. They just kind of know it. So it's very loose. It can come and go very quickly, because then when things do get bad, they can crumble real quick. So what I do for you or my students within the course is we teach you to do it consciously, so that you are aware of this superpower, so that you are not doing it as a fluke. You're doing it intentionally, on purpose, that you are doing this from a place of knowingness, that you understand what you're doing. And then because of that, it becomes a superpower, because it's something that you can harness and you can hold on to and control. Do you understand what I'm saying? There's a big difference between doing it as a fluke and doing it intentionally. The guy who understands and can master their emotions and their inner state, their 4D state, can always bend reality. This is the difference. Okay, this is the power that you have that nobody wants to tell you, that I'm telling you right now. So we do all of that within the modules. If you're interested, check it out. I just wanted to get on here and let you know about that, because this is something that not a lot of people speak about. Not a lot of people talk about trading in this way. It's always, charts. It's always market structure. It's always break of structure, market structure shift, order blocks, fair value gaps, volume, this. All of that stuff is good. Don't get me wrong. That is also important information that you need to know. But none of that will work if you're a mess. So you need to clean yourself up internally, and you need to know what to do. So I'm telling you, this is what you need to do. You have to fix your internal state. Otherwise, until you do that, your results will always be a reflection of the way you are internally by default. So stay cool, stay awesome. Until the next video, you're on your own. Take care now. Bye.